First thank you, Nina, for the introduction. For those of you, I guess, that don't know, which is probably going to be every single one of you, I've got a podcast called The Dog Days, which featured the lovely George and Sanctus on about, 3 months ago or so. And I guess the easiest way to introduce this talk is why I started the podcast originally. And that was about 12 months ago. I decided to leave my business, and two of my other friends were doing the same thing at the same time. And we all kind of felt, going to the school of self-improvement and reading all these books, whether it was Seth Godin or Gary Vaynerchuk or whatever it was, nothing felt like it landed, nothing felt, you could read 15 or 20 of these books and I'd walk away being like, okay, I've got it all in my brain, but I'm not doing it, I'm not a millionaire, I'm not sitting there on this yacht being rich dad, poor dad, sort of, Dan Bilzerian. And that wasn't the aim, to be Dan Bilzerian, by the way, sort of some stone looks in the corner there. But what I did feel like, even after going down the podcast route, there were a collection of brilliant podcasts out there to learn a lot from, and nothing for me felt like it resonated at all, and nothing felt relatable whatsoever. So we started a thing called The Dog Days, which we didn't really realise actually means the hottest days of summer. It's nothing to do with summer at all, or dogs. Well, the dogs are key. The main purpose was to kind of talk about the struggles and vulnerability that we go through to get to the end of anything really. And I guess there's a lot of Hollywood reel stories about, X-person making £1 million in their first year, and not many people spend time speaking about the tough times, and I guess the times of struggle, which brought me to speak to George. And I actually didn't know, before inviting George onto the Dog Days and to hear his story, that there was a thing that happened before Sanctus. And for those of you that don't know what Sanctus is, it's an amazing business. I'll do a really bad job of doing this, but it's essentially maximising the importance and bringing awareness of mental health in the workplace. And I think George didn't come out of Harvard with that idea. George actually stumbled across the idea through need, and I think through your own experience. And we ended up learning a lot about George's story. So without telling it for him, I thought I'd introduce George, and actually probably just start by saying, where did it all start for you?
Oh my god! Watching life in general.
Yeah.
Can I also just say I was told I was going to do a podcast today, and normally in a podcast you do a podcast in like a dark studio.
Yeah.
There's like 100 people in wearing shorts having a shave. So next time, it's my first live.
You do look terrible, by the way.
It's my first live podcast. God, where did it all start? Well, so I now run, as Ollie just said, a company called Sanctus. We're on a mission to just completely change the way we think about, approach, work on our mental health. Like our big vision is we're working towards putting the first mental health gym on the high street, because we feel like, once it's as normal as walking off the high street and working on your mental health, it's just as normal as working on your physical health. That's what we've been working towards for the last 3 years. And we've ended up doing a lot in the workplace, but we've still got ambitions to be like a high street brand. That's what we're working towards. And I never thought I'd be doing this a few years ago. So we started, me and James, who's my best mate, we started a app at uni, and we just chased the Zuckerberg dream of you raise lots of money, you'll sell it, and I'll be Zuckerberg, and then I'm done.
So we Dan Bilzerian like me.
Well, for me it was Zuckerberg. I always joke that I watched The Social Network, and I was just do that. But we dropped out of uni, we raised money, and I think there was a point where I was trying to be someone that I wasn't, basically. I was trying to be Zuckerberg, whatever that was.
I just out of interest before, because I think we spent quite a lot of time when we chatted about originally about where the idea came from. There's a lot of things out there that's find your purpose, what do you love, find whatever you love, and just fucking do that.
Sanctus.
Yeah, sorry, not for Sanctus, for the first business, because you left university and then it's quite impressive what you did. You managed to get funding for a business that you, I guess, thought it was something that you loved and you were passionate about. What was the business again? What did it specialise in?
I mean, back at uni I was 19, I was like I just wanted an app. I just wanted to not do uni. So I just wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I was like, what do I struggle with? Finding a night out. I created Night Finder, no one used it.
There was, I think, how many universities saw an app called Night Finder? There was definitely quite a few of those.
Every student's done that, and I was just like the 100th to do it. And then Match Chat was just an idea for a football app, because I quite like football. and then we just so happened to build it, we just so happened to raise some money, we just so happened to drop out, and it did happen quite quickly. But it just wasn't right. I think, long story short, to kind of, I don't want to go, I mean, I can go into it, but that business wasn't good for our own mental health. Being someone I wasn't for so long, it's so hard to just keep that front up. And I could only keep it up for so long, and it got to the point where we couldn't keep it up anymore, basically. I was just a shell. Like, I wouldn't have used the word burnout, I think that's why it's interesting, but I definitely did burn out. And that led to us talking about our mental health and led to us starting Sanctus, really.
And just on, I think it's quite important to understand the symptoms of burnout. I think, personally for me, the minute I started the podcast, I think I was about to go through feelings of burnout, but I think it kind of saved me in a way. So I think I know the beginning symptoms, but for you, because you had a company, you had people that were working for this business, what were the, I guess, immediate symptoms that you felt? You said you felt like a shell. How does that feel, look, act?
I just felt empty. That's the best way I could describe it. Just wasn't being myself. So the best way to describe it was a shell. Which wasn't myself. And then the physical, I think I was told I had glandular fever. I went to the doctors because I was so tired, so heavy, couldn't get out of bed. I'm normally so energetic and so just up for it in the morning, like ready to go, and I wasn't for a good period of time. And I was trying to come up with different sort of solutions or reasons for that. So when I went to the doctor, they're like, "You've got glandular fever." I was like, "What's that? I've got glandular fever." That's it, done. But it was more that it wasn't just that. It was a build-up of doing things the way that we did. And I suppose I burned out in that kind of way where I just felt really tired, really heavy, just had nothing kind of left. As well as working hard.
And okay, so there's a group of people here in the business that's working for you. You can't decide to yourself, I'm sort of done. Even though you've got salaries coming out at the end of the month and all that kind of stuff. Your business partner at the time, James, was he going through the same sort of thing, or were you?
I think he was reading blog posts about business requires persistence, break through the wall. And he was reading blog posts on that while I was reading blog posts on, like, you should do things that you love. So I was like, mate, I'm pretty sure we should be loved. This should be better. This should be more fun than this. This isn't fun. I'm not enjoying this. I'm not being me. And he was like, no, mate, you've got to break through this wall. There's a wall, and we need to get through it. So, yeah, I think he was. If he was here now, he'd say he didn't want to admit that or acknowledge it. So he kind of was in denial. He just kept going. I actually never said to him or to anyone else around me how I was feeling. Right? I never said, I feel stressed, I feel empty, I feel like, this is all in hindsight, this is years later. At the time, I didn't tell anyone how I was feeling. I just avoided that and just kept going. So actually, I left because I just had to. I was just like, the only way I can deal with this is just by getting out. So I left. Yeah, that was really hard, leaving my best mate, leaving the company I built. It was a really weird time.
And where did you go straight after that?
I went home first, straight up. So I was like back in with mum and dad. And the hard thing was it didn't get much easier straight up. You know, you don't leave and then it's like, oh, my burnout's been removed. Oh yeah, I feel great again. It actually, once I started to acknowledge it, it started to sort of, come to the surface, and it took me a while to actually even face that.
I remember when you and I were speaking, you said you flew off to Bali thinking that was going to solve all your problems. Or was that James? I forget now. That was James, right? Okay, yeah. But I think, interesting, even bringing James into it, he experienced the same thing, but later down the line. Yeah,
so 6 months later, I say I acknowledged it, I left, and then I didn't. I really didn't. I just kind of just kept going and doing other things to keep myself busy. 6 months later, catching up with Jerry, and he called me and said that he just had an anxiety attack on the tube. Well, he didn't actually call it an anxiety attack. He was like, mate, I just had this weird experience. Don't know what's going on. And I just said, like, mate, just go home. I always go and have a brew. Just chill out, you'll be fine. And he was like, yeah, I'll do that. Which is the only advice I had. And only then did we start really talking about it as burnout, as mental health. He Googled it. He's like, next time it happened again, and he called me this time and was like, I've Googled it, it's an anxiety attack. I was like, okay, cool. So we actually did start to talk about, as soon as he started to talk about his stuff, I was like, also mate, I've been feeling like a bit of a shell. Like I was like, oh, so we're going to go there, are we? I'm also struggling, mate. Like, as soon as he started opening up and giving me permission, I was then like, oh, this is quite new for us. We'd never talked about our mental health as best mates and co-founders, so it unlocked something for us then. That's where it started to sort of come out, sort of thing.
And what did you do then? So I think it sounded like you guys, sort of, the business was closed, it was done at this point. What were the next steps? Was it, okay, right now Sanctus is born?
No, so closed the business down. James started to talk about it to me initially, and then we had kept this blog that no one read. And then he wrote. We were sitting together, and he wrote like how he was feeling, like how we were feeling. He just called it mental health in startups, and I was like, "Are you going to publish that?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "That's pretty personal, sort of thing." But I was like, "If you do that, could be something." And then we published it, got shared loads, had like 10, 20, 15,000 hits in like 24 hours, so, and then hundreds of emails. And I think from that point, pretty much, especially JMO basically started, he got so much out of talking to me and then talking to others about it, that he just therapeutically, he's a good writer on his blog, he just kept writing. And then others were like, I feel the same. And that's kind of where Sanctus was born out of that blog post and many more. And it wasn't until like 6 to 12 months later that we were like, oh, this is a real thing. This is something that we're becoming super passionate about. We haven't stopped talking about for months and months and months. And I think when we started to say things like, we all have mental health, we started saying things like, mate, we've known each other for so long. We're so proactive in every other part of our life. But why have we never talked about this? And why we talk about 1 in 4 people suffer with mental health illness throughout their life or in any given year. Why don't we, everyone in this room, 4 in 4, everyone has mental health. So 3 years ago we started saying that, people were like, yes. And we were like, why isn't there a Nike or an Adidas of mental health? Why isn't there a gym on the high street? Why isn't it just like that? And people were like, do that. So we just, we're trying to do that. Yeah.
And I want to go back a little bit because I think it's important. Bearing in mind this is a burnout focused talk. Now you know what it is, now you have a business based around having lots of coaches and therapists. What would you do differently when you experience those first feelings of, or the symptoms really of burnout?
So I'll be really honest, I don't know if this will bring the tone up or whatever, but so when we first talked about doing this event, this was months ago, and I was like, oh perfect, I'll be able to talk about that with loads of hindsight, and it's all in the past, so I can talk about it then. Since then, I've been feeling burnt out. This month, for the first time, so we've been doing Sanctus for nearly 3 years, I'm having a month off. Me and Joe have decided, September, I'm off. So this is the first thing I've done since I've been...
I was going to say, you did a good job.
I'm meant to go. I've been in the office today in the last couple of days, so that counts. Yeah, and it's been really weird, because, I've had therapy this morning as well. I felt in the last couple of weeks very similar to how I felt. Heavy, no energy, not wanting to go to work, not excited about work for the first time since we started the company. And I'm like, this is weird, I should love it. I'm doing something I love. Actually, the day-to-day of what I'm doing hasn't been exciting me. But the difference between now and then, last time I didn't say how I was feeling. This time I've just one day sent Jamie a voice note being like, mate, I feel weird. I think I'm burnt out, seriously. I've literally got the voice note where I'm like, I think I'm burnt out, seriously. And then we had a chat about that, and then he's just kept asking me, how are you feeling? So I've actually named it, I've acknowledged it, and not kind of avoided it. We've talked about it, and I suppose I've actually looked at what are the things that are making me feel like that this time. Last time, I was like, I don't have anything like that, that's not me. Whereas this time I'm like, it is what it is. I feel heavy, I feel low, I feel shit, I'm not enjoying work. It is what it is.
Would you mind if I could just dive into that without making this actually I might make this a live therapy session. Yeah. Not that I'm a therapist, I'd be a fucking terrible therapist. What does that feel like, and how does it resonate now? So because I think the biggest misconception I find, whether it's depression or burnout or whatever, even happiness, you can't feel it eternally. And even if you've got over the feeling of anxiety and the sickness that you've had, you wake up the next morning, is it harder, or how would you describe the kind of flow of this feeling in burnout?
I must admit, saying it in front of everyone here, I'm like, my heart's going now.
Sorry.
No, it is, because I think if you knew me a few years ago, there's no way I would say this. No way. I'm almost in shock. It's just surreal. I'm like, am I actually saying this shit? So that feels different. The only way I can describe it this time is it feels lighter, naming the truth of that's where I'm at, just naming it. I just feel lighter. It's like liberating to just say it. And I think I'm scared if I name how I'm feeling, the unknown of what that might mean. Maybe I'm not right for Sanctus. Maybe it's not my place. Maybe I shouldn't work there. Maybe all the things I've been working on for the last 3 years is not right. That scares me so much.
Is it a feeling, and can you sort of tie it to something like imposter syndrome? Could that be one of the reasons why you started to feel like that?
I think this time it's actually down to what I'm doing. I think I'm a very creative person, and when you build a company, you have to just do a bit of everything. And I've been like, I'm on the back office at the minute. I'm doing the finances and the invoices, and yeah, it's not really me.
It's not the stuff that drives you. But I mean, again, like going back away from, and sorry to put the fucking spotlight on you.
No,
it's good. But I think I read so many things, launch your business, whatever, and it stresses so much about working to your purpose. And there's a book called Ikigai, I won't go on about it, but it's this whole Japanese theory where the more time you spend doing what you love, what you're passionate about, the longer you live, apparently. As you can tell if that's true or not. I don't know why you're now the life expert, but do you think this is maybe spending time away from doing what you love and doing the sort of day-to-day things in the flow of enjoyment? And do you think that might have led to feeling, because I know what I feel like when I talk, that's my mum. When I talk to my mum, it's not a particularly enjoyable experience. It's, mow the fucking lawn and I feel generally burnt out for a moment. And it's because I'm drained of this person who's sucking the energy from me. And I think you can do that on a day-to-day basis. If I'm told to write on a spreadsheet, I will be burnt out within a minute, because I hate it. And that idea of doing that is the worst thing ever. So do you think there's, a correlation between your day-to-day, doing things that you're not loving doing, and the feeling of being burnt out?
I think it's different for everyone here. Like everyone, the people that will share parts of their story around this, it will be very different. And for everyone here, burnout can be a spectrum, and you can feel very differently to how I've just explained that I felt. I think people, because I run Sanctus, people think my mental health's like 10 out of 10. I'm some sort of Zen master. I shouldn't feel like this. And actually, I felt quite ashamed recently of that I've got so much purpose and so much good stuff. I shouldn't feel like this. But I think I'm real. I think the actual thing that I've been coming to terms with is, like, if a musician puts all their soul into creating an album, such a creative thing to do. You put so much of yourself to create an album, or a piece of art, or a piece of music, or a video. Same with the business, you put so much of yourself in. I've given all of myself for 2 or 3 years. It's not about the number of hours that I've worked, it's just about how much of me has gone into this.
Yeah.
And I don't dare call it burnout or call it whatever this is that I'm on now. I feel like I have to have some, I was joking, Adele's had she was like, I'm having a year off. I'm like, why can't I, why isn't that more
Mental health
normal? Why isn't it more normal to have a down bit after I've given 3 years of this? So, what I really wanted to come up here and do is share a story of how to avoid burnout and how to prevent it, and follow these 3 steps and you'll all be good. I suppose what I'm coming to terms in is I can manage the level of burnout and maybe the level of the downside, but maybe I can't always avoid it because of how much I give to life and to my work.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's it.
No, that's really... Okay, wait, we're finishing up.